Hi friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would reflect a bit on how my reading went in 2023. I will share with you how I did with my goals that I set for myself at the start of the year. We will also look at some statistics, how many books I read, how many books I purchased, things like that. We're just gonna chat, a chatty fun video. I realized that perhaps I should have watched last year's goals video. I did do it earlier when I started to plan for this one, but I don't remember anything. But let's have a look at that quickly. Okay, I had a quick skim through last year's video of my goals for 2023, and yeah, I feel up to date now with what I had hoped to achieve, and now we can reflect on it. My goal for 2023 was to read 80 books. I got there, I read 83 books, so why don't we look at our Goodreads stats to start out with. If I look on my year in books for 2023, I can see that I read a total of 83 books. That means 29,159 pages. It's more than last year's, or 2022, but we will have another look when I check with the stats in my reading log, because I don't really trust these numbers when it comes to page count. I trust the ones I input into my reading log more. Shortest book, Fredrik Backman, The Deal of a Lifetime. Longest book, The Well of Ascension. Average book length, 351 pages. I believe it's longer than it was in 2022. In 2022, it was 299 pages average. So I'm reading thicker books, that is good, I think. Most shelved is Verity by Colleen Hoover. It's my first Colleen Hoover. I still haven't read any more since, but makes sense. And the least shelved one doesn't even have a cover, but it's How to Start Your Own Fucking Brand by the creator of the clothing brand Nudie Jeans, which is a Swedish brand. The book is in Swedish. It's like a book. It's sort of just to market the brand, I guess. So not something I believe you would find in a bookstore. Average rating 3.6. Highest rated was As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. And yeah, there we have it. While we are at it with the stats, I will just check some numbers in my reading log as well. According to my reading log, where I actually track the exact number of pages I read, it's actually 20,948 pages. And that is because I count audiobooks differently. Like audiobooks I count in time, not in pages. Let's just talk about my goals for 2023. Did I achieve them? In case I didn't, why not? I didn't really have that many numerical goals for 2023. It was more vibes in regards to my reading, I think. And then some year-long challenges, year-long goals. Let's start with some that I failed. I put myself on a book buying ban, or more correctly, I actually had like a book buying game. So I earned books by completing books, finishing TBRs, finishing readathons, stuff like that. I earned prompts to buy books for, basically. I got off with that fairly well the first half of the year. I even survived the dreadful major book sale that always happens in like March, April, May in Sweden. I didn't make it past that one in 2022, but in 2023 I actually made it past that one with my book buying game, which was a proud moment for me. But I think somewhere around August or possibly July is when it started to go downhill again. I did not technically earn all of the books that I purchased myself in 2023, but honestly, I don't feel too bad about it. And if you're curious, I acquired a total of 65 books to my book collection in 2023. Out of those 65 books that were added, I have read 20 of those, if you're curious. Another year-long goal that I had, that I still have, that I will probably continue to have forever, is to halve my physical TBR. Sort of went hand in hand with the book buying game. I believe that at the start of the year in 2023, I had counted that I had 129 books on my physical TBR, which meant that my goal was to read 65 of those books in order to halve my physical TBR. I read a total of 41 books from my physical TBR. I don't think 41 books is a bad number though. I really don't. And you may wonder like, oh, but you read 83 books. How come you only read 41 books from your physical TBR? Well, we have ebooks, we have audiobooks, we have library books, we have rereads, which I don't count to my physical TBR. You will get, I think the next video after this one actually will be my monitoring my physical TBR for the final quarter of 2023. You will get everything I've hauled, unhauled, read, all of that fun stuff, and then we will restart this for 2024. I didn't reach this goal, but I do really like having this as a goal because it makes me think more about what books I actually own, what to prioritize. Another failed goal is I wanted to lower my currently reading. I wanted to get it to a single digit number, single digit value, less than 10. Didn't happen. I believe I ended the year at 20 books, but this is something I'm working on now. In January, I'm actually attempting to focus on my current reads. So this is a goal or challenge that is rolling over into the new year. Another goal I had was to read 2023 releases or like new releases. I read a total of 22 2023 releases last year, and apparently I read 22 2022 releases in 2022. That's a lot of 22, sorry. So I guess I'm the same. We'll see if that happens now in 2024. Another goal that I actually actively worked with was that I wanted to read at least 12 non-fictions last year. And I did. I made it as a goal that I wanted to read at least one a month, and I kept up with that so well. So I actually believe I already hit this goal back in like July or something. I think memoirs is what really drove my non-fic reading last year. I read like 6 memoirs or something like that, or even more maybe. So I actually read 16 non-fiction books last year, which I'm very happy with. And it's actually double the amount of non-fictions I read the year before that. So very happy with this one and the progress I made in it. And I am definitely more inclined now to pick up non-fictions. I don't have any non-fic goals for this year, but that's just because I don't need one, I feel like. I'm interested now. I want to read non-fictions, and that's pretty cool, I think. Very happy with that one. At least I hit one goal, right? I think, as always, I mentioned perhaps that I want to focus more on POC, queer and disability rep. Honestly, this isn't something I really thought about that much while picking my reads last year. So if we look at the stats and all the graphics and all of that, I've actually done worse than I typically do, which is bad. Fingers crossed that I up these numbers next year, I guess. I still want to read books with a lot of representation and representation for lives that differs from mine. I mentioned that I wanted to do rereads. I did do rereads. Not all of the rereads I had anticipated, but still, I reread 6 books, which is a lot for me actually, because I rarely reread books. I reread the entire A Darker Shade of Magic series, that is 3 books. I reread A Song for the Wild Built, over here. I reread Flux, which is a poetry collection. I reread Dorian Gray, kind of. I read it back in high school, and now I reread it, but like properly, because I didn't care for it back in high school, or I DNF'd it in high school, but I'm counting it as a reread. Those are the 6 books I reread. I was also working on 3 year-long challenges. The first one was Buzzword-a-thon, hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala, and I actually completed Buzzword-a-thon. Like the day before New Year's, I completed Buzzword-a-thon. So here are the books I read for that one, and 6 out of these books, half of them were 4 or 5 stars. So pretty solid, I would say, actually. I had a lot of fun with this challenge, and I will do it again in 2024. I also did a fairly good job of reading the prompt for the month, like on time, up until October, I would say. That's when it started to get a bit messy. But other than that, I kept up with this one pretty well, and I'm very happy with that. I participated in and failed with Globetrotter-a-thon, hosted by Kevin from Machado About Books. I don't know if I read like 4 or 5 books from that one, maybe. Perhaps I could squeeze in other books here, but I like to have like a dedicated book for the prompts. I don't want to like backfill it, if that makes sense. And then I also failed with my 12 books recommended by 12 friends. Once again, I did a fairly good attempt at keeping up with it for like the first quarter or first half of the year. I might have read like 4 books of this one or something, but then life got in the way, and I will be reattempting it in 2024. 1 year I'm gonna make it, I promise you. 1 year I'm gonna make it with this freaking challenge. And I guess another year-long challenge unofficially is I had hoped to keep up with the First Law read-along hosted by Beck and the Books, where they read the First Law series by Joe Abercrombie. I did read the first book, and I started the second book and have read half of it, but that's about it. So I'm saying I read 1.5 books out of like the, I don't know how many, like 6 books I needed to read to keep up with that one. I still have those books here. I still intend to read that series, or they are there actually. I still intend to read this series. I'm just gonna do it at my own pace. I feel like I'm constantly proving to myself how bad I am at keeping up with read-alongs specifically, even when I host them myself. So I don't know why it's an issue though, it shouldn't be. And then I guess some more channel goals. I wanted to make more themed reading vlogs. I didn't do that many. I do love the ones I did, but perhaps not as many as I had hoped for. I did make an Agatha Christie vlog, which was a lot of fun. A Dark Academia vlog that I also had so much fun with. And then I guess sort of like an Afterlife vlog. I don't really know if that counts. I wanted to keep shorter TBRs and allow for more mood reading. I feel like I started out the year well with shorter TBRs, and then somewhere like March, April, May, it started to go off rails. And then I sort of stopped doing TBRs as well. I'm undecided whether this is a fail or a yay. I didn't keep up with my TBRs, that's for sure, at least. For my channel, I hoped to gain 1,000 subscribers. I ended the year at 875, which is still incredible and definitely an increase, so thank you to everyone who has subscribed throughout the year. That goal will also roll over into the new year. I wanted to make more individual book reviews. I think I did like 2. I did one for The Secret History in the Dark Academia vlog, and I did like an actual sit-down one for the Fragile Threads of Power. So I did 2. I don't think this is something I will prioritize in 2024. I think I would rather prioritize the themed reading vlogs. But if there's ever a book that I feel is current and I have opinions on and I feel like I have things to share and discuss, then I might do it. We're gonna see. And finally, I wanted to put some more effort into my thumbnails. I don't know if I've done that. Sometimes I've definitely played around a bit more with layouts. Especially for like vlogs, for like vlog thumbnails, I feel like I'm playing around a lot more. But I guess it's something I'm gonna attempt to keep up with as well, because I want to get better at thumbnails. I want them to be time efficient, okay? I don't want to put hours on my thumbnails, but I also want them to look good. You know? Let's wrap this up with some quick fire stats. Majority of the books I read were physical. I always love that. It's what I want. Audience, yeah, makes sense. I'm definitely reading more adult than I've ever done before. Barely any YA, not even 10%. Next up, genre. What do you think was my most read genre in 2023? I don't remember what it was in 2022, but it's always like a fight between fantasy, romance, and general fiction. And in general fiction I include contemporaries, litfic, and similar. In 2023, the winner was fantasy with 20.5%. On second place we have romance with 16.9%, and then third place is general fiction with 14.5%. Following that big 3, we actually have memoir as the 4th biggest category, which makes sense because I read plenty of memoirs, I feel like, in 2023. And then we have mystery, and then we have sci-fi. I think I read my first short story collection in 2023, that's pretty cool. Hoping to do more of that in the future. A couple of essay collections as well, like personal memoir essay collections. And then a couple of novellas, some poetry. I want to get more into poetry in 2024 actually. I want to read more poetry. I've had this urge to read more poetry. I just haven't because I don't own any poetry. I'm hoping to up my poetry numbers this year. My best reading month by far was July, but that's because I read a bunch of short books because I wanted to catch up with my reading my physical TBR challenge. And my worst month was October. Author, artist, gender, still majority female writers. I'm fine with this. Nation of origin. Haven't focused on this one as much, but US, still a majority. I think it always will be, no matter how much I attempt to focus on other nations, and that is because a lot of the hyped books and books I'm intrigued by are written by American authors, and those are also the books that are like marketed. I apparently started 17 book series in 2023. I completed 2 and I continued with 9. Perhaps I should focus on finishing up series in 2024. That was an all over the place summary of my reading in 2023. Nevertheless, I hope you still enjoyed it. It feels good that we are wrapping up last year and that we can finally focus on the new year. Hopefully by the end of 2024 I will have accomplished more goals than in 2023. My big takeaways from 2023 is that I completed Buzzwordathon, I read more than 12 non-fictions, and I think that's sort of it. So if I can achieve more than 2 goals in 2024, I will be very pleased. Feel free to share your reflections about your reading in 2023. Perhaps we can bond over failing goals. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Please take care and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after